Good evening, everybody! Welcome to round 3 of our 1991 F1 series, coming to you from Imola, near Bologna, Italy. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this race. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those of you of the Irish persuasion. So let's quickly go over the top 10 in qualifying as time expired. Starting on the pole today will be Ray Riddall with a time of 1 minute 25.270. 1/10 back is Grant Riddall, starting second. Third, Richard Coxon. Fourth, Anders Nilsson. Fifth, Cesarius Lipinski. Sixth, Richard Wilkes. Seventh, Tim Hilla. Eighth, John Team. Ninth, Ruben Fernandez. And 10th, David Saber. Those are the top 10 as time expired in qualifying. And I'm joined in the booth by Jonatan Åcerclinth. Jonathan, good evening.
Good evening, Jason, and good evening, everybody. This is probably going to be quite a interesting and hectic race with fuel probably not being a major aspect, so a lot of hard racing coming up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you weren't able to make the grid with the Coloni, but I guess in the interim, the Coloni team's loss is our gain because we have you as our color commentator. We thank you for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, Coloni just lacks a bit of everything around this place, so happy with my time, but just not good enough. Very close competition, especially at the cutoff point.
As you can see, the cars are now on track, heading around on their warm-up laps. And very shortly we'll be going to the race session, which they've actually back-timed the warm-up for. I believe it's going to start at 2000 sharp, so we got about 8 minutes to play with here. So this is round 3 for us, and it's the first race on the European continent. It's called the San Marino Grand Prix, but truth be told, this race is actually taking place in Italy, and the course is far closer to the city of Bologna than it is to the microstate of San Marino, but no matter, because this is one of the most popular circuits on the calendar. It's named after Enzo Ferrari and his son Dino. It's a course that features a plethora of fast and slow speed corners, punctuated by several very technical chicanes that were added later on as the circuit was modernized to suit modern Grand Prix cars. There's a decent amount of elevation change too, you'll see around this track. And of course, there wouldn't be it wouldn't be a complete mention of Imola if we didn't mention the daunting Tamburello corner, which we see 2 McLarens heading for right now, which is unfortunately the curve where Ayrton Senna and Roland Ratzenberger met their respective fates in 1994. A tragic event. In the following years, chicanes were added to Tamburello, but today it's featured in its original period-correct configuration. Imola also has the distinction of being one of the one of the few F1 circuits that runs counterclockwise, which wouldn't really make a difference with our drivers today, but if you were actually driving it in a Grand Prix back then, your neck muscles are trained to be strong in one direction, and then you're going the other direction. So that would, in fact, be a challenge. We're going to be going for 61 laps today, or just over 307 kilometers. Jonathan, your analysis of this circuit.
Well, it is, like you say, a few fast corners, but a lot of mid and low speed, which means acceleration out of the car is one of the main aspects. So any of the cars which has the V12 engines should have a tiny bit of an advantage around this place. And the cars that have a decent chassis configuration in the real life race, McLaren's finished 1-2, and then
that's true. I forgot. Yeah, you're right.
And then through some good chassis and a relatively decent engine and the V10s in the 2 cars that finished 3rd and 4th, you had Leto and Martini with the Dallara and Minardi respectively. The Minardi might have still be running the V12 Ferrari engine actually. I'm a bit unsure on that.
They're running they're running the previous year.
Right. So
yeah,
would be the V. Yeah.
It's still a V12. It's still a V12, but it's just last year's spec.
And then you had the two very well handling Lotuses of Hackney and Bailey finishing out the top 6. So you want some power, but you want some well handling cars too. So the McLarens should be the ones to beat. The Jordans should do well, and the Dallaras, just like in the real life race, should do well. And yeah, you can probably do the race on a no stop or a one stop, dependent on how your car is dealing with the track. Rear tire limited, I'd say, based on all the acceleration that you do. And probably the driver with the most bravery and the most judgment in when to be brave is probably going to excel here tonight.
Well, it'll be really fun to see how it unfolds. That was good expert analysis. Let's take a look now at the point standings going into today's race. They're a bit jumbled at the moment, and it's going to be that way for a bit. Some ties we have to report here. In first is Anders Nilsson with 14 points. Tied for second are Richard Coxon and Ray Riddall at 10 points apiece. Giovanni Centorami is fourth with 6 points, and then tied for fifth, we have Juha Boss and Richard Wilkes with 3 points apiece. In the constructors' standings, there are no ties right now. Team 7-Up Jordan is in first with 16 points. Braun Tyrrell Honda is in second with 13 points. Third is Ken and Williams' team with 10 points. Fourth, Scuderia Italia is in fourth for 6 points. And fifth is Cal Benetton Ford with 3 points. So still very early days in the championship. We've seen certain drivers, most notably Ray Riddall and Nilsson, asserting themselves in their cars and looking very comfortable. But we'll see where the championship goes as we continue on this 16-race schedule. So another item that we should mention today, it's ironic that we're in Italy, because just last week we lost one of the biggest names in automobile design, an Italian considered by many to be one of the very best, if not the best, if not one of the best car designers of his generation, Marcello Gandini, who passed away this past week at the age of 85. This guy was a hero of mine and a hero to many, and I just thought it'd be cool to mention this because I want everybody to realize the magnitude of his achievements in design. Let's just take a quick look at some of the highlights in his career as a designer. The Lamborghini Miura, considered by many to be the first real supercar. The Bertone Carrabbo, a car that really typified the wedge-shaped wars of the late 1960s. The Lamborghini Countach. What is there to say about this car that hasn't been said by so many already? I mean, we had notebooks in high school that had this car in the cover, for Pete's sake. It was just every kid's just dream. And it inspired many people, I'm sure, to go into the business of car design themselves or just in the business in general. The Lancia Stratos Zero concept, which then later led to the production Stratos that Gandini also designed. And this was a car that went on to be a legend in rally racing. The Lamborghini Diablo, at the time when Chrysler owned Lamborghini. It's clearly a successor to the Countach, but has its own very interesting shapes and surfaces. But again, this is just a brief survey of Gandini's many design accomplishments. His influence was such that I thought it was appropriate for us to take some time on today's broadcast to acknowledge it, because we don't all just love racing, but we love cars in general. And
Indeed.
So just wanted to mention that. I do not think that we will see his like ever again. Marcello Gandini enters eternity at the age of 85. All right, so why don't we go out on the circuit now and see if we can find somebody who's starting a lap, or close to starting a lap, and then we can take a look at this circuit proper.
Right.
Here we go. Here's Rob DeVries starting a lap. Let's see here. He is just now...
Tim off on the side, Tamburello being done.
Yep, he just got through Tamburello, and now he's going for the very fast Villeneuve curve before braking hard for this very, very acute, but actually somewhat fast left-hander at Tosa. Now he's heading up a short hill, which will take him to the Piratella, which is a left-hand corner. Fairly fast, too, also. Then he's heading downhill now into the first of a few chicanes that you have to deal with in this circuit. Here's the Aqua Minerale chicane, literally mineral water. Now going to the right, up a hill. He's now heading towards the next chicane, which is the Variante Alta. Here is the Variante Alta. Right, left. Heading back now down the hill. And this is to the far end of the circuit, where there's a double left-hander at Rivazza. One here. The second of the two corners is actually faster. And then comes the last chicane, which is the Variante Bassa. And you enter this chicane very quickly, actually. And then downshifting for the final chicane that takes you back onto the main straightaway. That's one lap. Let's go for one more lap with him because we joined him a bit late. Crossing the start-finish line. And now heading into Tamburello. This is a very, very fast corner. Some cars taking this at 180 miles an hour. There goes Luke Rosella. Now into the Villeneuve curve, which is the right-hander. And then this is Tosa. Heading left. Now up a hill. You can see the elevation change here quite clearly, Jonathan.
Definitely, it really calls for a lot of engine to be able to pull yourself up these hills that you try to crest.
Yeah, so torque is just as important as high speed here. Now into the Aqua Minerale one more time. You'll note that we put tire barriers there to keep everyone honest. Heading up another hill here, back to the left, and now to the next chicane, Variante Alta. Right, left. It can be awkward at times to get out of Variante Alta with some speed. You got to be careful not to lose momentum there. So heading downhill now towards. Oh wait, another car on the inside there. This is Rivazza, Del Piccolo squeaking through there with these AGS. Back to the left again. And now heading back to the right. Right, left. And then back to the left one more time. Oh my goodness! Oh!
In avoidance, good job.
Well, it can be difficult to slow down for these chicanes. You got to have your brake balance really well sorted out. That's not something that's trivial. So.
And almost move it about 4 different turns because there's so many different ways you brake for the different corners around this place.
Yeah.
Could also be worth mentioning that is the first time, I believe, we've seen the Modena Lamborghini-powered car in the grid for this championship.
That's true. We're going to go over the grid, and there are lots of DNQs. But yeah, there are some cars that made it onto the grid this time, probably for the first time in 3 races. So that is worth mentioning. So we'll talk about that. In terms of cars, or car notes for this race, Coxon is so good at creating these. The tires. We're looking at probably softs or mediums. If the track is cool enough, maybe the odd super soft combination might be used. Brakes will be worked very hard here. A clue to see if people are overusing them is to see how long they glow for, actually, if you keep a close eye on that in the game.
That'll be especially noticeable on the start-finish straight after the final section.
Yes, that's true. Engine temperatures won't be a big issue, Richard says, due to the cool nature, but severe over-revving will still harm the engines, so you can't do that. Now, there are 4 teams that have given us new cars for this race, and one of them is on the screen now. The brand new Brabham, which is the BT60Y. A radical design, but not really the best car, to be fair, on the circuit. But I always liked this one when I was a kid. And this is back when Martin Brundle and Mark Blundell were on the same team, which is a nightmare for commentators. But in any case, that's the new Brabham there. Also new cars unveiled are Footwork, their FA12C. Fon Metal unveiled their Fomet 1. And Benetton unveils a new 1991 car, the B191. So those are the new cars in this series that are at this track. No less than 4 new cars. So keep an eye out for them. The rest of the cars and power are about the same as they were in round 1. So that doesn't change very much. But we'll take a look at other things as we go. This was an interesting qualifying session too, because of the nature of the track that we have here. There's a limited garage space situation, so we had to do actually 2 separate qualifying sessions, and our admin team did a great job of sorting out who's going to start where based on those 2 qualifying sessions. And so here we are, with our 26 car grid as normal. But the funny thing is, Jonathan, if you think back to actual F1 rules at the time, there were 2 qualifying sessions anyway, weren't there?
In a sense, yes, because they were pre-qualifying for new manufacturers, and I believe those that were really low positioned after previous qualifyings. So if I remember correctly, the Jordans were in qualifying, so were the Dallaras. And I believe as well that it was either the Modern or the Footwork, I believe, were also in pre-qualifying, as were the AGSs.
All right.
Ahead of actual qualifying as such. So unfortunately for a few teams, they turned up to do 1 session on Friday, and for some of them that was that.
Yeah, it was a much more complicated situation than we can do here in one given week. I remember one time we ran an F1 series, I think it might have been at the other league, where we actually did qualifying on a day during the week and made it into, and then we actually were able to do a proper, like, with a theme song intro of here's the top 10 in qualifying, like it was ESPN or something. But we can't do that now, of course, because all the qualifying happens on the day of. So, I mean, I'm good with Photoshop, but not that good that I can do it that quickly. All right, so here we are. I'm going to turn on the telemetry. And we are going to the race session. As I mentioned, Ray is on the pole. There's 61 laps here. I'll talk a bit more about what happened in qualifying when we get to some of the more, the less exciting parts of the race, but we want to be able to bring you the 61 laps in its entirety. I thank you again, Jonathan, for joining us, because without you, I'm probably going to miss a lot of stuff. So I'm counting on 4 eyes are better than 1. So definitely, or in your case, we both wear glasses, so it's 8 eyes, correct?
Indeed.
Okay, so 8 eyes are better than 4. That's what we should be saying. Okay. All right. Enough of that silliness. So we're waiting for the cars to join the grid now, and we'll see everybody off. I'll go through the entire list of the 26 runners. Okay, there they are. They're coming onto the grid now. And I'll also mention the DNQs for you. I didn't ask you about Gandini myself. Are you familiar with his work, Jonathan?
Only when I saw what cars he had a hand in designing, did I realize, oh yeah, I recognize those cars.
Hard to imagine a world without his work, which is why I wanted to bring it up here. Anyway, on the pole for this race is Ray Radal, Williams Renault FW14, very convincingly on the pole. Had a great qualifying session, very fast. Second is his son, Grant, in the Dallara Judd D191. In third, Richard Coxon, Tyrrell Honda 020. In fourth, Anders Nilsson, Jordan Ford J191. In fifth, a very good performance for this car by Cesarius Lipinski, a Minardi Ferrari M191. Sixth is Richard Wilkes in the other Tyrrell Honda. 7th is Tim Hillett in the other minority Ferrari. 8th, John Team, good performance for him in the Leighton House Ilmore CG 911. Ruben Fernandez in the first of the low tie starts 9th in the 102B. That's a great performance from him. The first of the Ferraris, much to the chagrin of the Tifosi here, will be David Saber, the 642. He had an opportunity to move up the grid more, and he just spun on a really, really hot lap. I'm sure he would have been up higher if he had been able to complete that lap. 11th, Giovanni Cinturami, Delara Judd, D191. 12th, Juha Boss, Benetton, B191. That's the new Benetton. 13th is Alan Santo, McLaren Honda. 14th, Oscar Team, Leighton House, Ilmore. 15th, Brian Janik in the other Lotus. 16th, Gabriel Del Piccolo, AGS Ford. 17th, Luciano Rosa in the other Ferrari. 18th, Luke Rosella in the Footwork Porsche FA12. 19th, Nicholas Kirsten in the LaRousse Ford. 20th, Jules Bouchard, Jordan Ford J191. 21st, Mikael Drexler in the other Williams. 22nd, Francisco Amaral in the other McLaren. 23rd, Bruno Chacon in the Benetton B191. You can see the high nose there, denoting the new car. 24th, Peter Hlavic, Footwork Porsche FA12. So both Footworks in the field. 25th, Salvatore Sirignano, Brabham Yamaha BT60Y. And rounding out the field, and you're right, this is probably the first time this car's been on the grid, Rob De Vries in the Monza Lamborghini 291. DNQs for this race. Mendez, Toe, Meunier, Olsen, yourself, Jonathan, Claudio Augusto, Matthew Simignani, and K.O. McKeel. So the cars are now on the grid. We're awaiting the start of the race. Fixated right now on Ray Radal. As soon as we see the flicker in the left corner of the screen, it'll be time to go. Everybody very tense, I'm sure, at this point, trying to find room. It's a decently wide track, but still, you can find yourself in the grass if you're not careful. There's the flicker. Stand by for the start of the San Marino Grand Prix. And the race is underway, but there's now a drive-through penalty for Ray Radal. He jumped the start. My goodness. So that affected...
I imagine he would have rolled. The grid is slightly on an angle.
He did, so. Yeah, he did roll slightly, and it got him. Oh my goodness, that's devastating when you think about how fast he was in qualifying. Here they come down towards Villeneuve Curve for the first time. Everybody seems to get away okay, but the story of the moment is that the leader, Ray Radal, is going to be due in the pits at the end of this lap because he's jumped the start. That is just devastating for him. I can't. Oh my goodness!
Off in the back.
Oh, there's a huge shot. Huge shot in the back. One of the Benettons and the AGS of Gabriel Del Piccolo has impacted the wall there. The Chacon gets going again, crabbing a bit, but there's Del Piccolo, who looks like he has some damage in the front.
Further damage, Siringioni missing a front wing, as is Francisco Amaral in the McLaren, so quite a few caught up in that, unfortunately.
So this is academic, of course, because Ray's leading the race, but he is due in the pits for a penalty. So effectively, you're watching the leader here, Grant Radal. Slapinski following him, then Wilkes in a great start, Anders Nilsson, and then Richard Coxon, John Team. So we'll see what happens here if, in fact, Ray goes to the pits. No, he does not. Ray does not go for the pits. He continues in the lead. Now, what is that going to do?
I think he has 3 laps to serve it, so I'd assume that he would like to... Oh, there's a big off in the back. Luciano Boccia in the Ferrari looks to have gone off in Passa. Probably struck one of the tires here.
Here come the cars through Tamburello and into Villeneuve. Look at Nilsson looking at an opportunity to overtake Wilkes here, but he can't get it done. My goodness, so already high drama here. Luciano Rosa DNF, so he's out of the race after that incident. Unfortunately, he's our first retirement. The Tifosi will not be happy about that. But there's a really hot...
Oh no! Big off!
Who?
Oh my god, I think they survived maybe. They did, holy moly. Brian Janik, and I believe he was trying to make a way past... would that have been...
Let's take a look at a replay.
Hill, I believe.
He was trying to overtake Tim Hille. Here's a replay. And yes, oh my goodness, up in the air. He contacted Hille. And oh my goodness, he was lucky to escape with only a front wing being damaged there, but he's due for the pits as well. My goodness. Oh, and look at that. He almost gets into it. Rosella. And now he's cutting chicanes, just trying to get the thing back. My goodness. So not a good start for Brian Janik. That's really too bad. Interesting that all this is happening to people at the back of the grid. You can see cars in the pits right now. Del Piccolo, Chacon getting repairs. So a pretty eventful start to this race. Now, here's my question, Jonathan. Ray has got to serve this penalty for jumping the start. Now, every lap that he waits, he's just delaying the inevitable. What is the advantage of waiting until the last minute to do this? Am I missing something?
Well, the thing is, he is so quick that if he does the 3 laps, instead of being at the very back of the grid, he may rejoin in, depending on how quick. I mean, I think it's 60 miles an hour he has to serve it at. He would be back out and around maybe the high teens in placing in the field. So I think for him it's more of a, let's try not to be at the very back once I have served the penalty.
Well, it's a death blow for his chances
Fernandez
of winning.
With a bit of an off. Oh, a spin! Oh dear me! Oh no, he got hit! By Santo, I believe that was.
Yeah, Fernandez has spun out. Yes. Here's the replay of what happened. So the Lotus team, oh my goodness, he didn't take the chicane properly, and now he's spun out on the grass. He was very lucky enough. And then he gets clipped by one of the McLarens and loses his front wing. So this is a disastrous start for Lotus in this race. Nothing's going right at all for them.
Yeah, Tim Hille in the pits as well, so he must have picked up some damage from that contact with
Ray starts yet another lap. And you can see on the camera here, we're on board with Ray. You see that little red arrow that's on the left-hand side. That indicates that he has to serve a penalty. So there's no way out of this. He must do it within a certain amount of time. It depends on what the mod is set for. I don't know what the limit of laps is, but there is some kind of limit there, and he's going to have to serve it at some point.
Indeed. Nilsson defending from Wilkes. The battle for 4th, and right behind is both the Tyrrells, Wilkes and Coxon.
Coxon didn't have the greatest of starts, but evidenced by the fact that he's behind his teammate. But watching these cars now coming through the no, it's not. That's Aqua Minerale. You're right. Yeah. Now heading up the hill, it looks like Nilsson's got a good amount of torque coming out of that HB Ford engine. But yeah, the Tyrrells are back there, and if he makes one mistake, he's likely to be in a bit of a bother, you might say.
Very much so.
All right, Radal exits the Ravatsa complex and now is heading towards the final chicane. Let's see if he decides to pit this time. He's already overtaken several people that have been in the pits. Yes, Ray is now heading into the pits, relinquishing the lead. So that effectively puts Grant Radal into first place in his Dallara. In second, Ray is already out of the pits, so it was just a roll through. He didn't have to stop. So that drops him to fourth. I mean, that's, I think back in the day, the actual rule was you came to a stop for 10 seconds and then kept going. The game might be set just for a roll through. Let's take a look at what happened there.
I believe the game is dependent on how severe. It's either a drive-through or a stop-and-go.
Yeah, it was just a roll-through. I'm looking back, and all he did was roll through the pits at a predetermined speed. So now Ray is just down to fourth. So that's far less damaging to his chances than we thought it would be. Now he's being hounded by the two Tyrrells. But I think he's probably already thinking about his next target in front of him, which is going to be Anders Nilsson, as we look at the from the onboard camera with Ray Radal. heading into Rivazza now, and you can see Nilsson and Ślepinski just ahead. So Ray has got to put that behind him and just like focus in the job at hand now. He's still in fourth place, very respectable, and we don't know what's going to happen the rest of the race. So he can't compound his mistake with other mistakes, right?
No, indeed. I'd say probably just sit there, look for where is he stronger than the guys in front, and then start working his way through them. Oh, there's a yellow flag in the buzzer. There's a car very well off. I think that's a car quite a ways back. Oh, that was Tim Hiller.
All right, we have a bit of a change here. Here's Coxon trying to overtake his teammate, but it does not work. He gets shoved back, not by Wilkes physically, but it just, the torque just was not there. Let's look at a replay of that. Here they are coming into Villeneuve. Coxon comes out, has the inside line, but slides a bit and cuts right across Wilkes, and he has to take the outside line, and Wilkes takes it back. So, little intramural battle here for Tyrrell. Interesting bit there. It appears that, that's Chacon who's being lapped, so he's not in contention for a place there. Ray Riddall still in fourth, Nilsson in third, Ślepinski second, and Grant Riddall still leads. Now, Grant is able to extract a lot of speed out of this Dallara. I mean, this is, I'm sure he's not happy for his dad having to serve that penalty, but this is a storybook situation for him. He was scintillating in session 2 in qualifying. He came out right away and right off the bat set a P1 time of 1:26.379. That was with 26 minutes left in qualifying session 2. He was just it just took him one lap to set dominance. So I would
and he just did the fastest lap of the race at a 32.8. So
not surprised at all. So here comes second place, Ślepinski, then Nilsson, then Ray Riddall, then Wilkes. Coxon starting to drop back a bit. Look at this, Santo is in there as well in 7th place. That's a great performance from him. He's been having trouble getting to grips with the McLaren Honda. So yeah, it's a situation where Grant is faster than the car actually physically should be. And he's extracting more out of the car than I think most other people will be able to. So, and Ray, by comparison, in his session, he was P1 out of the gate with a time of 1:26.329. Then he upped the ante with a 1:26.250. His final time was 1:25.270. So he was easily just dominating qualifying session 1. So we had one Riddall in one session and the other Riddall in the other session. All right, so the gap now is about 6 seconds between the Dallara and the second place car, Ślepinski. And Ślepinski being hounded by Anders Nilsson. Nilsson has shown great speed in this Jordan, so it'll be interesting to see how long Ślepinski can stay in second place. What do you think?
It's difficult to say. I mean, you need to put the car in the right place, and around this place it is difficult to get yourself in a position where you can really go for a move. Speaking of which, there's another battle going on between Bors and Centrale for 9th place, and Jon Tim just a little bit up the road.
Oh yeah, this looks really good too. It's the other Dallara, driven by Centorami. Juha Boss looking for space to get by, and he just squeezes on the inside. Can he get it done? I don't know. Centorami's holding on there. Centorami now
Maybe.
Centorami has
really late on brakes.
Well, Centorami there had the inside line for the chicane for Acqua Minerale, and now they're heading up the. So that was great defense there by Centorami, using the where he was on the circuit as a way of protecting his position. No blocking there, completely legal. And Boss continues to follow him. And we have one of the footworks in 12th right now, Luke Rosella. So it's a definite step up from where they were at the start of the year. So we'll see.
with a new power plant in the back, so...
Yes, the Porsche power plant. Okay, so Ray Riddall is starting to close in now on Anders Nilsson. So this could get very interesting here. The Jordan Ford has a lot of grunt with that V8 engine. Very well balanced car, but probably doesn't have the horsepower that the Williams Renault has. And if you look back further there, we're still having a bit of a skirmish between the two Tyrrells. I could see a situation, Jonathan, where if you're not careful on this circuit and you're charging really hard, that your right front tire will just go, nope, sorry, I'm done.
Could definitely happen. It feels even more likely that it's let's put them like early on the power and a bit too early, and you spin the tires up, and either you wear them out entirely or you spin up and have a half spin or a full spin.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. We may see people actually losing the back end on some of these chicanes. We've already seen it happen once, but I'm talking about later on down the line when the tires are much more worn than they were before. And you can see how Ray is using that Renault power to close in on Nilsson as they get out of Tosa here. Now they're climbing the hill. That low-end torque of the Ford, I'm sure. But look at he's actually gaining on him there as well. So it's really going to be just a matter of picking the correct spot to overtake if he gets the opportunity. It's well documented, too, that V10s were considered at this time, and by a lot of people, to be a better bet in Formula One. In fact, Senna, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, was very vocal, actually, early on in 1991, that he preferred the Honda V10 to the Honda V12 that they were using at that point. The V10 was then being used by the Tyrrell team, but he actually preferred the V10.
I honestly don't know if that's the case or not, but I could imagine so, because the V10 would have a lower rev range and therefore have grunt a little bit further down in the rev range. The downside of the V12 is the fact that you need quite high RPMs to get it to run really well.
Which means you're always flirting with blowing the thing up.
Mm-hmm.
So this race is a bit stalemated at the moment. Let's look further back. Here is Coxon still at the back end of Wilkes, the two Tyrrells together. I was just mentioning the V10 engine. These cars are equipped with the Honda V10 from the previous year. All right, here comes Coxon once again, trying to overtake his teammate. He might get it done this time, and he does. Coxon is up to 5th place now. Wilkes down to 6th. And now Santo is closing in on Wilkes. This is interesting. I don't think Santo has been up this high in a Grand Prix so far this year. But here he is.
Both with a great chance here. Going to battle for 9th. Up the inside, and I think he's far enough up the inside this time.
There goes Juha, and he is back. Yes, he is by Centurami this time. He got by. I wonder what the difference is in terms of driving feel between this new Benetton and the 1990 one he's been using for the first 2 races. Uh-oh, we got a yellow flag here. What's going on? Oh, Coxon has spun his car! Coxon has spun into the grass at the Variante Alta. He's getting going again. He's down in 10th place. Let's look at a replay of this as they're coming through. What happened? Coxon just got on the power a bit too hard, I think, and then spun the car around into that small concrete patch or asphalt patch there, and he spins it again when he tries to right the car. So compounded the problem, but Coxon back rolling it again now in 10th place, but that's very costly. So back into 5th place goes his teammate.
And unfortunately, a third retirement from this race now. Salvatore Serrangioni in the lone Yamaha in the race sadly has retired.
Well, and not a very good debut for the BT60Y. But in any case, Santo still hounding. Now Santo actually taking advantage of that attrition, or not attrition, but the spin by Richard Coxon. He is now in the points in 6th place. So rarefied air here for Santo in this mod. So it'll be interesting to see how he copes with being in such fast company up at the top here. Interesting too that Ray doesn't seem to be making as big of an impact right now on Nilsson. Rather, it's more Nilsson stalking Ślepinski at the moment.
Could be that he's content with sitting back, and considering the still relatively high mid-corner speeds on some of these turns, he may have just felt, I'll just back off, get some fresh air on the wing, and let the tires get back to me, and I'll try again in a few laps.
But look at that V12 Ferrari of Ślepinski. It's in that Minardi, just pulling away through Tamburello and Villeneuve. So if Nilsson is going to overtake him, it's going to be in the twisty bits, where he can use the grunt of the low-end grunt of the Ford.
Indeed, and side by side here in the position made for Juha Bulls on Jan Tim. After Tamburello, up to 7th goes Juha.
Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly Juha can close on Santo and Wilkes. Meanwhile, the gap has increased to 7.5 seconds from the leader to Ślepinski. So Grant seems to be pretty much just doing textbook laps here, just trying to hit a number. And Ślepinski here, I think, is starting to feel the pressure from Nilsson. He locked up his tires there for a second there. So, but again, I think the V12 power that Ślepinski has under his right foot is going to really help him defend against Nilsson here. You'll notice as soon as they get out of this chicane, he puts the power down, and that green car of Nilsson's gets smaller and smaller in looking back. Again, last year's Ferrari spec engine in this Minardi.
Indeed, and Juha immediately with the fastest lap of the race, 1:32.5.
Well, that's really interesting. He's got that new Benetton hooked up, and he's putting some distance between himself and the Leighton house of John Team. So we'll see what happens when he comes into the twisty bits of the course here. I mean, it comes down to, I wonder how many people have trimmed out their cars for speed, and how many others have got them set up so they'll go through the chicanes as quickly as possible. It's different philosophies of where you want to be quick on the circuit. But as far as historical significance, this car right here, the Benetton, and the Tyrrell 020, this was the start of the high nose era with these two cars. Before you knew it, everybody had these on their cars, but it took a while for other teams to adopt them. But the early adopters were Tyrrell in 1990 with their
Oh no! Oh my God!
What happened?
Oscar Tim with a spin and a optimistic rejoin, I would say, but no damage done, and he is now stuck in the gravel trying to get out.
Oh no!
Acqua Minerali.
That's going to be dangerous because he might back into someone. Oh well, he was very careful there not to back into somebody else's path. But man, that's scary. That's the second off that we've seen in Acqua Minerali, or is this Acqua Minerali? Is it?
Yeah, that was Acqua Minerali's second.
Yeah.
spin
Okay.
indeed.
Yeah. There we go. Now you wonder how much damage he's done to that Ilmore. He's all the way down to 17th after that, man.
Indeed, and I've been following the progress of one of the well-handling cars in the form of La Ruse for Niklas Kirsten.
Yeah.
And if we can see here down the straight, he has nothing on that V12 in the Williams, but as we saw, as soon as it's twisty, he catches right back up.
It appears we have another spin, and it looks like a Lotus has gone off or something. No, wait, no, actually it's a McLaren.
That's Santo.
It's Santo. Santo's gone off. That's too bad because he was in a great spot. Oh, man.
So out of the points, down to 10th.
Yep.
Sadly for him.
Nilsson continue. We're seeing lots of parts all over the place. People need to be careful because we're going to have lots of people hitting pit road here to repair their cars. But as it is right now, Nilsson's still in third place, stalking Ślepinski. I think Ślepinski's drive is probably the best of anybody's so far in a car that really, in theory, is inferior to the ones behind it. But he's putting it to very, very good use. Ridal still in fourth after his penalty for jumping the start, rolling through the pit lane. Wilkes is in fifth. Sixth is Boss. And if you look behind them, there's a really hot battle going on between John Team and Centorami. Centorami looking for a way around on the inside, but Team successfully defends on the inside. Great job there.
Indeed, and I think the parts were from two drivers that has retired, Ruben Fernandez in the Lotus and Francisco Amaral in the second McLaren, sadly both out of this race now.
That's really too bad.
Oh, and Alan Santo retires as well.
Yeah, he's out. He's out as well. That's really unfortunate because he was sixth. He had points finishing on the plate if he was able to keep the thing going, and that's really too bad. Maybe it just takes more getting used to driving that V12 because, especially with a Honda V12, when the power comes on, it cracks on. You know, there's not a lot of sympathy with that power plant, not the kind that you would get from Ford HB, for example, or one of the V10s, which would probably have have smoother power delivery. Team, though, pulling out a little bit of distance with that Leighton house between himself and Centorami, so it appears as if this is coming in off the boil just for a second here. But yeah, Juha's driving a great Grand Prix so far. If attrition starts to take hold at the front, he could find himself on the podium later on. We'll see what happens.
Indeed, and I believe that for Jon it's one of those, oh, I can see, because Juha made a mistake a couple of laps ago and just ran a little bit wide. And I think Jon saw that and is feeling like, I can catch him, let's go. Mm-hmm. One of those, you smell the blood in the water and you immediately start driving just a little bit better than you did.
Grant has just put a lap on De Vries in the Mona. And here we go. Yes, there's the second, third, and fourth cars all together heading through the Variante Alta. Then here comes Wilkes in fifth place, carrying on. His teammate Coxon is in ninth, so it's going to be a while before he gets back into the points. Then you have Juha in sixth, seventh is Team, eighth is Centorami, ninth is Coxon. There's Coxon, he's catching that group very quickly. So we'll see if he's able to. Then we got a long gap here before we get to Bouchard, who eventually will show up here. There he is. He's the other Jordan, and then you have, I believe that was 11th place Rosella. And then 12th is Drexler. 13th Kristen, if you've been following. Saber is in 14th place. After starting 10th, Chacon, Brian Janik. Again, it has not been a good race for Lotus. And here comes Del Piccolo. Just to give you an idea of where everybody is on the track there. Take a look further back at the field.
I have noticed watching both Grant and Giovanni and the two Dalaras. It looks like they have chosen quite a trimmed out setup or very stiff setup, because Both of them are hanging their rear ends out occasionally. So it looks like quite a nervous car, but it's working quite well for them so far at least.
Mm. There's Brian Janik in 18th, trying to get by Chacon, but he can't. Chacon's actually behind him on the circuit in terms of track position. But definitely not the best of starts for Lotus. There he finally gets by. Brian gets by. That's not a pass for position, but he's trying to make up time that he's lost here in 18th place. Coxon is now getting very close to Centurami. This I'm not surprised about. We'll see if Coxon can get by. Raise this a little bit. There we go. Now we can see what's going on. Centurami and team directly ahead of Coxon. Looks like there's an overtake that's happening here. Centurami on the inside overtakes team before Villeneuve. That was a great maneuver. Now into Tosa. Looks like Centurami went a bit wide there, but stays in 7th place. Now they're climbing the hill. This is difficult for Coxon because there's a battle going on here and he's trying to advance his position.
Could also be a blessing if they mess up for one another and Coxon can take advantage of it.
Yeah, but you've got to get through there yourself.
Sure.
If somebody has an off, you're hoping they don't take you too. Oh, and here he comes. On the right.
Yeah, wow.
That was very, very, very well done. Coxon advances to 8th place by taking the line away from team. That was very well done. Now he's got to catch up to Centurami again. Centurami locks up the tires, heading into Rivazza. So he's got a ways to go before he, before he gets to the Dallara there. 7th place. Juha still in 6th place, but very quick in that car. Here's Wilkes. He's getting closer to. That's actually Rob de Vries. It's not a pass for position if he makes it. But things are. Oh, look at this. Nilsson very, very close to Ślepinski now. This is a battle for 2nd place. Driving the Irish car on St. Patrick's Day is Anders Nilsson. Will the luck of the Irish be with him today?
So far, definitely has been.
Yeah, he's been able to avoid a lot of the dramas that have been happening so far in the race. So is Ślepinski.
Slight lockup, but gets the car stopped.
Yep. Heading
That's
for
something else that you want to try and avoid. Too many lockups, and that will cause even more troubles in terms of getting cars load, besides brake wear.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, heading down towards, again, I think it's the Ferrari V12 that's helping Ślepinski here.
It certainly looks like it. That Ferrari engine pulls quite well.
Yeah, it does. Now heading into Tosa. And Ray Riddall's not dropping back. He's just behind them here. I think he's just watching points right now. He doesn't want to get involved with these two.
Could definitely be the case, or he's waiting for when he can undercut them, maybe put some new tires on and blast in a few quick laps and
True, yeah.
blast them that way. It's interesting, just outside the top 6 and the points, Centurame, Coxon and Tim are still running together in the Dallara, Tyrrell and Leighton house.
Yep.
And all of them with V10s, but with different concepts of V10s. So it's interesting to see which one will have the edge at the end.
There's still a lot of parts and pieces laying around here. Somebody needs to run out and get those, but in any case, yeah, Nilsson definitely seems to have better acceleration out of the chicanes, but then it's just a matter of Lipinski getting away on the long straights. I mean, if he gets close enough, he'll start feeling that toe, but this is likely to be stalemated for a while unless somebody makes a pretty serious mistake.
Ray just set the fastest lap, so he might be looking to start getting on the move here.
Who?
Ray Riddle.
Well,
32-1.
I think it's that's a fast car in any situation. I think he's going to be. That means he probably just he's sensing he's dropping away from them a little bit. Doesn't want to lose too much ground. So we're on lap 22 out of 61. So we're like a third of the way through. So at some point here, I would think like maybe lap 35 or something, or maybe even sooner, we'll start to see pit stops.
I think somewhere between lap 30 and
25, maybe
45, 50, 45. Probably where we're going to see stops, dependent on what tires the drivers are looking to put on the cars. Let's have a quick little look.
Oh, here Nilsson is actually much closer to Lipinski now. He's inching up just little by little by little by little. It's all the time I think he's gaining in the twisty bits. Yeah, most people are pretty spread out right here. It's not, but Rob De Vries 17th in the Modena is an excellent story. I mean, this is a car that clearly is not among the quickest in the field, but here he is. He managed to wrestle it onto the grid. This is a car designed by Mauro Folgieri of Ferrari fame. He's letting some cars by here that are lapping him, but an interesting design for this car. It's kind of drooping side pods, but for all its innovative appearance, it's not one of the faster cars out here, unfortunately.
Oh, indeed. I believe it was both a bit too heavy, especially with the V12 Lamborghini engine that they procured, and unfortunately, the engine itself was also a bit down on power compared to the other V12s, so
yeah,
it's sadly a very unfortunate combination of
I think
things going on.
That can be the case with a lot of the cars that don't do well in this series. It's not the happiest of marriages between chassis and engine. The Yamaha V12, for example, was notoriously heavy, and did not help, I'm sure, the cause of Brabham. It certainly didn't help the cause of Jordan in 1992. Oh my goodness, De Vries almost loses the back end of the car, but keeps it going there. He was lucky to escape that, especially with the tire barriers close by. But the Yamaha engine, when it was mated with the Jordan in 92, was a disaster because it changed the whole handling characteristics of the car. They only managed 1 point in 92 with the car in the hands of Stefano Modena. The other one was driven by Gugelmin. And it was just a disaster. It took them the entire season to get to a point where they were competitive with the car. But the Lamborghini V12 definitely was not up to the same level as the other V12s in the series. Thierry Boutsen infamously detested the Ligier Lamborghini that he was driving, its handling characteristics. So, as much as the Lamborghini sounds fantastic, let's go on board, you can listen to it. It's a beautiful sound, but unfortunately, just doesn't have the power of the other V12s. But I will say Rob's doing a good job keeping the car rolling. We'll see where he is at the end of the race. Maybe he'll have a top 10 finish. We'll see.
Indeed, and getting quite close now between Santorami and Coxon for 7th and 8th. Coxon almost got the gearbox of Santorami coming through Rivazza that time.
Yep. They are now coming through the final chicane.
Good run too.
Yeah, Coxon got a great run off that corner. Look at him. He's already pulling out to pass. Honda V12 versus a Judd, I believe.
Indeed.
Down the
Looks
straight.
like the Judd is just slightly superior here.
Looks like it. Coxon looks up the inside. Oh, no. He doesn't have the room to do it. Santorami absolutely within his rights to hold the line. He was not obligated to give Coxon any room there. He had it was his corner, but Coxon definitely asserting himself here. There we go. It's interesting that tachometer on the Tyrrell. It goes 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm assuming that is the 0 means 10,000 revs.
Indeed.
Uh-huh.
It's one of those, let's save on some money and just do that instead.
The same display is in the Honda McLaren as, oh my goodness, I believe Santorami almost spun there, but you can see the grass on his right side tires, but he just barely got out of there with no problem. Let's take another look at the overtake. Coxon slips down the inside. He's getting good at these overtakes where he just takes it. Yeah, Santorami got into the grass a little bit there, but he was able to recover and kept going.
And is getting quite racy now for second. Trying to sell Slapinski a dummy going into...
Yes, definitely.
They are... Oh
my goodness, they are very close now. See, this is why you need a good color commentator. Another set of eyes, apart from the expertise that Jonatan brings to every broadcast. He might catch something I won't. So, here they are threading their way through, and Ray Radal is right there waiting if somebody makes a mistake.
Must be frustrating for Anders sitting there knowing over a single lap I am just a tiny bit faster, but having that V12 in front of you.
Well, now they have to overtake.
Oh, a spin?
Yeah, there's a spin in this area. It looks like one of the.
Off.
It was one of the Leighton houses.
I think that might be Oscar.
That was Oscar who was off. I saw briefly a flash of an orange helmet. He's driving Gugelman's Leighton house, so that would have been Oscar. As they now overtake the.
Slavic.
That's Slavic, yeah, that they have to overtake. And man, Slapinski bought himself a lot of room there, actually. So now Nilsson's going to have to catch all that back up again. The leader continues to be Grant Radal in the Dallara by 11 seconds now. So he's been stretching out that lead ever since his dad had to go to the pits to serve an assessed penalty for jumping the start. We saw it. It was pretty obvious, too. The car was rolling before the light went green, so it was a fair penalty, fairly assessed, but didn't cost him nearly as much as it probably would have cost in real life, because I remember watching F1 broadcasts of the 1990s, and they would bring you to a stop in the pit lane at the front, and there would be a countdown clock that would count down 10 seconds. So it could have been much, much worse if we were even more trying to be more period correct.
Indeed, and getting a move on is Juha Boos and Richard Coxon, both of them setting fastest laps of their race and the race itself so far.
Well, Coxon's pace has been such lately that yeah, absolutely. He dispensed with Santorami quite well at Rivazza, and yeah, Juha seems to be going really well. It's just unfortunate that he started farther back. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think part of the problem is why Juha didn't start in the top 10. He had the problem of having to organize the qualifying sessions, both of them into one table that he could then use for the grid. When you're the admin of the series, you have a lot more things on your mind than just the race. And so I think that...
Coxon into the pits.
Oh, interesting.
No, that's Wilkes.
No, that was
that's
Wilkes. Wilkes coming into the pit. So that was that his pit stop? It appears, yes, it was.
Yeah, that would have been his pit stop then. Probably softs on the car.
Okay, so Wilkes is the first of the front runners to make pit stops. He's down to 8th place now. We'll presume that probably most everybody will be doing that in short order. Actually, the gap now from leader to second place is 10.6 seconds now. Grant is starting to encounter more traffic. He's got the AGS of Del Piccolo, who makes room for him.
Looks like Coxon's crew is out in the pits waiting for him as well for this lap.
Yeah, and Grant's going to go for another lap here. Let's see what happens with Schlapinski and Nilsson, if either of them decide to come in. Going through the Varianta Bassa. And no, neither of them decide to go in. And Ray is going around another time as well. So it'll be a while, I think, before... Actually, no, Juha is now heading for the pits. There's a wrench icon on his onboard. So that means that we'll be seeing him go straight on at the chicane into the pit lane. Yes, here he comes into the pits to take on tires. This is critical because he's one of the faster cars on the circuit. Let's see what he's taking on here. Looks like
B's all around. Some
B compound. Yeah, B compound.
No, softs, that is. So softs on the car.
And there he goes. Bear in mind,
Ray looks to be pitting this lap.
Bear in mind that he's on Pirellis, so that may account for why he's pitting earlier, and also Wilkes was on Pirellis for that matter. So that may explain why they pitted earlier. Those probably don't have the wear rate that the Goodyears have.
No, they indeed wear a little bit faster and
they're a bit stickier.
Indeed.
No, another thing to keep in mind, I believe our leader, Grant, is also on Pirellis. So let's see, does he come in this time? No, he does not. Schlapinski is still defending himself against Nilsson. Excellent fight here. And they're going to go for another lap, both of them. So,
I believe Ray...
Oh, there goes Ray. Ray Riddall has just entered the pit lane, and he's stopping.
See, he was on... Oh, he had... That looks like... Softs on the rear and mediums on the front, and he continues that setup. Wow.
There he goes. And he is still in 4th place at the moment, so he may not even lose track position here. Yeah,
Coxon mediums all around.
Coxon is also in the pits. There he goes. Makes his stop. He's down to 8th now. Team advances to 7th. And Wilkes is up to 6th in the points once again. Yeah, Ray was able to complete his stop without losing any track position, which is great. You had a good cushion between himself and Centorami.
Indeed, and this is where we will see if he might be able to undercut the guys who were in front of him at the time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, because once that happens, then it's like, okay, everyone's cards are on the table. We'll see who can make hay in the last part of the race, as Schlapinski and Nilsson now closing in on Nicholas Kirsten. Oh, who has gone off the track? My goodness.
That's Kirsten.
Kirsten, sorry. Yeah.
LaRousse.
Let's look at a replay of that. Yep, there he is, just losing the back end under acceleration. Not surprising.
Yeah, it looks like his rear tires are starting to feel the wear of this track here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. I think we're going to see more and more of that, like from some people, where they're trying to get purchase coming out of one of the chicanes, and the rear tires have just given up and they can't do it. But that one of those loops really costs you a lot of time if you have to do that.
Indeed.
watching from Ślepinski's cockpit here. Oh, another car off in this section. Who is that? Can't see it. Oh, it's Bouchard. Bouchard off the track, and it looks like he's pulled off into a safety area, so that may be another retirement right there.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's an engine failure for him.
Oh my goodness. So he must have been pushing that car very, very hard.
Very possible indeed. That means Luke Orsella in the Footwork Porsche is up into the top 10.
Yes, he is. Luke is now in 9th place, driving the Footwork Porsche, another power plant that was much maligned during 1991. I think this will probably qualify. Oh, there's another yellow flag in this section, and I believe that was we didn't see it, but let me look back.
Juha Boss. Juha Boss retired.
Is that it? Yes, that's it right there. Juha retires, pulls off the circuit. That looks like an engine failure right there. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it couldn't be much else, could it?
Well, no indeed. Oh, dearie me. Oh, that is close. Lap traffic. Ślepinski, Nilsson now right up behind him.
That's Del Piccolo.
Opportunity for Nilsson here.
And Ślepinski actually takes a defensive line into Rivazza, and that's probably what saved him there. But you got another, oh my goodness, look at this. This is the best chance Nilsson's had yet to overtake Ślepinski, as they're stuck behind Chacon in the other Benetton. Chacon goes for the pits, so he's now no longer a problem. But look at Nilsson now. He's right on the gearbox of Ślepinski. This is the best chance he's had the whole race.
Well, it looks like he is staying closer than he has been so far. This could definitely be his opportunity going down to Tosa.
He's in the tow, there's no question. Now, is he going to pop out and do it? No, he decides not to. But man, he's been harrying him for the last 20-odd laps.
Ray with a really fast lap, 31.1. Closing in on this duo.
He's actually fallen a bit back. I wonder if he made a mistake at some point.
And Grant has been in the pits.
Oh no,
well.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. He made a pit stop. That's why you don't see him here. He's made a pit stop, and these two have not. I wonder. Oh, Ślepinski now into the lead, so that means that Grant has made his stop. Let's see. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Grant has already made his stop, so that means he's down to third. And Ray is still fourth. So it's going to come down to now Ślepinski in the lead with Nilsson in second place. The question is going to be, are these two going to stop? They've gone past the point where most people would have considered stopping, and they're going to keep going. Now, do you think that it's possible they could be working on some kind of a strategy where they don't stop?
Either a no stop or maybe stopping late for a set of softs or super softs. The track is quite warm at the moment, so probably softs.
But they've been really going at it. I mean, pushing each other like crazy. These have not been concours laps they've been running here. So I really wonder, are they going to be able to maintain the pace? And you've got Grant behind them who's already pitted. So at some point they're going to have to come in, I would think.
Indeed, but for the time being, they are actually pulling away from Grant, if only a little bit. And I can also hear knocking on the booth door. We have Juha Bols joining us.
Oh, Juha. Terribly sorry about the retirement there. It looked like it was engine related.
Yeah, even earlier than Brazil. But,
well, we were
not so many places at the start. I just decided to stop the thing and go for it.
Well, we were talking about how difficult it must have been for you to qualify your car and at the same time come up with a combined grid for the start of the race, given the nature of the track. So kudos to you for doing your diligence as an admin. It couldn't have been easy when you're trying to drive the car at the same time.
No, it wasn't. Well, I think I qualified where I should have been. Just surprised me that so many people did a lot better. and then lost a heap of places at the start. Got stuck behind a few people, was slower. Once that free air, I think it was the quickest thing on track, except possibly the Williams, but to get there I had to push it too far, and well, it blew up.
Well, you're not the only one who's been having engine difficulty. I think same power plant that you had, Bouchard blew up as well. Probably just pushing it too hard, trying to make up places. But we're watching right now a battle that's been going on the entire race between Cesarius Ślepinski and Anders Nilsson. They are now 1-2 on the, basically because Grant has pitted. And so now we're starting to wonder if these two are even thinking about pitting, or if we're just waiting for a situation here where they're going to come in and then Grant will get the lead back. What do you think?
Oh, no!
Oh my goodness.
Grant goes off.
Grant!
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, he's out. Well, that takes care of that speculation. Grant all out of the race with an obvious accident. Here's the replay.
He actually clipped a spinning ball Piccolo.
So another car was involved. Oh no! Oh shoot! You know what? That's just bad luck. You can't. When a car spins in front of you like that, I don't care where you are. You have and he had very little time to decide what he was going to do. He probably did the right thing by going to the left, but yeah, because he couldn't have gone to the right. But it just clipped him, and that's the end of his race. That's really too bad for Grant. Really too bad, because he was doing everything right. He had an excellent start. Oh, my goodness. And he is in the garage, obviously. He'll be dropping through the standings. His teammate is now up to 4th and actually challenging, or that's not for position, that's a shotgun. Ray Riddall up to is up to 3rd place now.
That would bring Sabre and the Ferrari. So the Tifosi have something to share about. They have the Minardi Ferrari powered Minardi in the lead, and Sabre soon 10th.
Okay, Anders Nilsson now has the wrench icon on his dashboard, so he is going to come into the pits for tires now, it appears. He's trying to get by Rob De Vries here. He finally does before they get to Varianta Alta.
He's going to try and undercut Ślepinski then with a lap or two. Meanwhile, also there is a battle going on, if only with a bit of distance at the moment, between Jon Tim and Luke Rosella. The Leighton House trying to get past the footwork.
Anders has backed off a bit here, knowing that he's coming in. Let's see what kind of... Oh, they're both coming in, both of them, at the same time. The leaders, 1st and 2nd, into the pits.
So let's see. Cesarius stopping 1st.
C compounds.
Softs all round, and softs all round also for Anders. Let's see what the pit crews are doing. Who is finished 1st? Ślepinski out 1st, Anders still standing. There he goes.
Oh dear.
And here comes Ray.
Well,
so Anders with, unfortunately, the St. Patrick celebrating Jordan team slow in the pit stops, but now we have a battle for the lead still.
Oh, we do. This is a great battle for the lead between Ray Riddall and Ślepinski. This should be a humdinger right here. They've got cars in front of them that they have to overtake, but look at how fast. Ślepinski's on cold tires, cold Pirellis, and Ray has been out for a while on those Goodyears, so they're nice and sticky. This is going to be a very interesting battle between these two. Yeah, Nicholas Kirsten right in front of them.
I think Ślepinski's on good years, if I have to go by the nose anyway. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes, he is on good
just
years.
came out of the pits.
Yeah.
I had Pirelli in mine as well, but Italian car on non-Italian tires.
Well, Ferrari, for what it's worth, went with Goodyears.
Yeah. Well, not many teams went with Pirelli.
Well, in a way, that was actually kind of advantageous to them because Pirelli could devote more attention to a handful of teams and probably do more experimental stuff than Goodyear could do. Indeed, Pirelli's, when you get down to it, in some cases, are much stickier at certain points than the Goodyears are. They just don't last as long, right?
Oh, exactly.
When the battle is really on for 7th as well. Both Rosella and John Tim trying really hard to get an upper hand in this fight.
Kirsten gets out of the way of both cars very sportingly. Let's go back and look at that battle you're talking about between, this is Luke Rosella, now in 7th place. He's only 1 place out of the points, driving a footwork Porsche. And he's being harried like crazy by John Team. The attrition in this race working in favor of some cars that we wouldn't normally see in the top 10.
Very much so. I imagine the footwork is probably quite trimmed out, staying ahead of the Leighton house as well as it's doing.
Yeah. While we have a
Ray
minute...
is still behind Slapinski, and there's a battle for 4th coming up soon, I think.
Uh-huh.
Oxen and his teammate closing in on Centerami.
Well, we're looking at a lot of interesting battles here that are going to develop before the end of the race. So prior to that, real quickly, I'll just point out a couple of things coming up soon at ISO. Next week, it's the DHL International Race Day. It's our 4th round out of 13 in British Touring Car Championship. I don't know if Dave's going to be running a stream from his car, but that's Sunday, March 24th. Race 1 will start at 2000 CET. Then, the following week, I believe, the 31st of March, last day of the month, the Monaco Grand Prix, the 4th round of this F1 series, green light at 2000 CEST, because now that'll be the exact Sunday that Europe goes on summertime. So that's what's coming up at ISO in the next couple of weeks. And look at how close Ray is getting to Slapinski now. Definitely under braking. He's right there with him. Oh, look at this. Wilkes right with Centerami now. Centerami lights up the tires for a second.
I'd say Slapinski's running away a bit from Riddle. Oh, well, no, I was going to say someone goes straight on, but it's one of the Lambos.
So look at this. It looks like a bit of looks like an earlier part of the race revisited again. You got twin Tyrrells going after Centerami in the Dallara. And here comes, looks like he had a slow exit off of that corner. Wilkes looks up the inside in Tamburello. Very, very risky move. Decides not to. Tucks back inside. Let's see if he makes an attempt down at Tosa here. No, decides not to. Centerami doing what he can to hold these people off. Actually, Centerami is going to be heading for the pits soon. So it's a bit academic. If Wilkes knew that, he may not be being so... But there he goes up the inside. They touch briefly, and Coxon gets through as well. So both Tyrrells advance past Centerami.
That's good work.
Yeah. But as we said, Centerami is heading for the pits anyway.
And that footwork is still holding off the Leighton house.
That's pretty impressive. Great work from Luke Rosella there. And that's one of 4 new cars that were introduced in this race. Wilkes takes the defensive line. They're lapping Rob DeVries again. DeVries up to 14th now. So that's 3 positions better than he was earlier in the race. But I don't know. Maybe the best he can hope for is a top 10 in that. He's going to the pits now. So. Oh, but watch this.
As well.
Coxon coming off the corner here, trying to get some position on his teammate. No team orders at Braun Team Tyrrell. Yeah, the battle with Slipinski and Rayradal seems to have gone off the boil a bit here.
Rosella, in his attempts to try hard to keep ahead of Jontim, is cutting it so incredibly fine in the Variante Bassa chicane.
Well, he's got to be careful here. I mean, all he needs is one more car to exit the race ahead of him, and he's got a points-paying position, but it's hard to think about that when you're being harried by another car in the form here of John Team in his Leighton house, Ilmore, heading into Tosa.
Shortcut. That's the.
Well, that's going to make his heart skip a beat for a moment. He didn't advance much, so I doubt the stewards will do anything about that. But he certainly is going to rack up one. The game will. There's going to be a limit in the game, right, Juha? How many times you can do that?
There is, yeah.
Okay, so he's definitely feeling the pressure from Team. There's no question. Heading into Rivazza. Seem pretty even when it comes to straight line speed.
I think the footwork, in terms of top end speed, definitely, but it looks like the footwork is just edging up to that top speed just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So I reckon it's slightly more trimmed out, as Slapinski does the fastest lap of the race so far.
Well, that actually would make sense given what we've seen at the front. It appears that he's pulling out a bit of a gap between himself and Ray. But if Slapinski ends up winning this race, that's going to be a fantastic drive considering the machinery that he's got.
That machinery did get a 4th place in the real race, so it did do well here. But definitely a very good drive.
Tyrrells are in the same spot they were before. Coxon following his teammate Wilkes.
A Williams-Ferrari battle going on as well, and just inside the top 10. Saber looking up the inside here. Both of them looking up into Rivazza.
Yeah, that's Drexler in 9th place, and look at that. Wow, Rocha really looking at oh man, almost contact there, but thankfully not. Rocha, I'm sorry, not Rocha, that's Saber. Saber started 10th, so he's where he was on the grid now, but man, he is absolutely, he's definitely got the bit between his teeth.
Ooh,
oh, I think he
contact.
touched, I think he touched the right rear of Drexler there, yeah. That, he was very lucky, they could have launched him into the air.
Indeed, he should have a chance here though. Drexler wide.
Yep.
And there he goes.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
Oh, Drexler lost a lot of momentum in that chicane, but he keeps it rolling for 10th. And Saber now one position up on where he started in that Ferrari 642. This car actually had some revisions for this race that made it a little bit better. Let's see, I've got it right here. Introduced, this is the 642/2, which had an improved side pod shape to improve airflow, consistency to the rear wing, and the under tray was also revised to improve the stability. So there you go. So slightly better, but They're waiting for the brand new Ferrari, which is going to arrive in France, I believe. Yellow flag is being displayed here. I think that's just a car coming in. That is Drexler making his pit stop rather late, actually, because we're on lap 44 now to 61. He may as well put super softs on and go for it. And Luke Rosella has pulled out a little bit of a gap between himself and John Team, so maybe he's got a little more comfort there. Tyrrell still running close together. Nilsson by himself, and Ray definitely is starting to lose touch with Ślepinski. The gap is now 2 seconds, and definitely looks as if Ślepinski has got the measure on him at this point. All right, trivia question. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I didn't preview it earlier, but here it is. The trivia question is, engine manufacturers Renault and Ferrari are tied for most San Marino Grand Prix wins with 8 each. Which engine manufacturer is third on this list with 4 wins? Is it A, Honda, B, Mercedes, or is it C, Cosworth? All right, time is up. What do you guys think?
What was option A?
A is Honda, B is Mercedes, C is Cosworth.
I'll let Jonathan go first.
I would be surprised if it is, but let's say Cossa.
Cosworth?
That was going to be my answer, so I'll take Mercedes instead.
Well, I'm sorry. You are both wrong. The answer is Honda. 1987 through 89, and then 1991. So,
Would expecting them to have more wins around this place.
yeah. All right, back to the race, which we must pay close attention to. So the hottest battle right now, if you can call it that, is between the Tyrrells, but there's not really much going on there. And there's a decent gap between first and second, and Nilsson's by himself. So let's look further back here. Rosella still holding his own versus John Team. Saber is in 9th place. Drexler has dropped to 10th after he was 10th. He didn't lose any further track position after his pit stop. Nicholas Kirsten is 11th in the LaRousse Ford LC91. I believe that's the same power plant that your Coloni uses, right, Johnny?
Which engine was in that, did you say?
A Ford.
Yeah, it's the same. It could be the same power plant, but I think it's by a different.
It's not Cosworth.
Different tuner, shall we say?
Yeah. All right.
The Colonia has a mother made DFR.
Uh-huh.
What was the other car?
The other car I was referring to was the LaRousse.
They have the
same
Hart, I
type,
believe.
different builder.
Okay.
Both of a
Gotcha.
DFR engine.
And Hlavic in the other footwork is in 12th, so it's a decent day for footwork on the introduction of their brand new car. I'll tell you what, it'll be amazing if something happens at the front and Luke Rosella is able to pull out a points finish. I believe it'll be his first.
And Tim's in close company.
Yeah.
And Wilkes is off. Wilkes is off. Something happens.
Wilkes Richard Wilkes off the circuit. Is that Tosa, I believe? No, it's Piratella. It's Piratella.
All by himself.
Let's see what happened here. Let's take a look at a replay. He heads into the corner and just runs too wide at Piratella into the gravel and impacts the wall. Not super hard, but enough that I would think that would bend something. But
Still going.
But off he goes. So Coxon now advances to 4th. Wilkes is down to 5th. We'll keep an eye on him for a minute to see if his car is crabbing at all.
Anders with a blaster, 130.2. Doing what he can to keep close to the leaders. Ooh. I'm riding on board with Slopinski and he is pushing hard.
Yeah, but he's got a really decent gap between himself and second place. I mean, it's not... he just has to maintain it at this point, I would think. Lap 48 out of 61.
Definitely so, but...
or do you believe that... or do you
what I heard him do just now, I'm not sure the Ferrari engine is too happy about.
Well, he's going to have to watch it because... lots of people have gone out, not lots, but a few people have gone out with engine failures, and they weren't of the V12 persuasion. So if they're having a tough time, I would hasten to say that V12 drivers like Slopinski here have got to be careful.
Indeed, and Ray really closed up that lap.
Slopinski coming off a win in the Lucas Vidya Trophy, I believe. He won in the... BMW Pro Car Open race that we had. That's no surprise from him because he loves those cars. But a very different steed he has here in the Minardi Ferrari. Yeah, it looks like he's starting to
John Team's going for Rosella.
Oh, man, he is. And might have actually tapped him a little bit there, but man, oh, man, he is very close. The car behind him, Janik, is not in this battle. He's 13th position, laps down from them, but, oh, yeah, this is an excellent battle. Here they come through Varianta Bassa, and once again, poor Rob DeVries is faced with another clutch of cars trying to get by him.
Yeah, seeing 3 fast cars behind you, one go with quite...
Well, he makes room here. But look at Janik. He's trying to overtake... that's not even a pass for position. He was trying to overtake Team there for a second. But now Team has got the... they've all gotten past the Lamborghini. But man, look at Janik. He's actually... That's not for position, and he's obviously faster. So that actually is going to provide a little bit of relief for Rosella.
Rosella, yeah.
Yeah. Goodness, locking up there from Janik. He wants to get around Rosella. This creates a rather awkward situation here for these three. The fastest car in this group is not in contest, and is not in contest with any of these. He just happens to be quicker.
It's interesting to see as well at the front. It is closing up. Currently, the fastest car of the top 3 is Anders in 3rd. Right, very consistently low 1 minute 30s at the moment. And 10 laps to go.
Alright, so Janik gets by Rosella, and Rosella does the smart thing and lets him go. Coxon is now free and clear from his teammate. And yeah, it is closing down at the front too. Not just Nilsson, but also between our leaders, Slopinski and Ray Riddall. So this is not over yet. We got 11 laps to go now. Actually 10 and a half at this point. and these two are now closer together than they've been in the past like 10 laps. So I wonder what the situation is here. Is it just, could it be the tires for Ślepinski giving up earlier than Ray Riddall? What do you think, guys?
Or maybe Ray could have had a bit more reserve with having a superior car.
That too. I mean, obviously the Williams is superior to the Ferrari, but I wonder if
Gentle to the tires.
yeah, I wonder if the tires are playing a role here too. Somebody off the track briefly there. It looks like it's just here. Oh, it's poor. It's Rob de Vries again. So now he's got to deal with the leaders of the race. But knowing him, he'll make room as he's done before.
Biggest try.
Yeah, the gap is down to 0.5 of a second now. Half a second between first and second place. Great job by Rob to get out of the way there at Piratella. Now
Very much so, knowing to keep an eye in the mirrors to see where do they want to go by me.
Heading down to Rivazza now. So if Ślepinski can hang on to win here, it'll be 3 different winners in 3 different races so far, which is a very healthy thing for the championship.
So, unfortunately for Anders, he got held up a little bit lapping the Modena, but still well within reach in case something happens in front.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, Anders is not very far back. He's just waiting in the wings there.
Indeed, it's also nice to see, I believe, if it's the Minardi win, it's also 3 different manufacturers that has won as well.
3 different manufacturers. Good for the constructors table too.
And showing that any driver and any car combination can pretty much win if it's
well, I mean,
tier car or not.
For the series, it's for those of you who are watching who are not regular ISO viewers, as Ślepinski is a slow exit.
Ślepinski.
Oh my goodness, big mistake. Here comes Ray up the outside, and he takes the lead. Ray back into the lead after a harrowing drive so far, having been penalized and having a lot of stuff happen to him that he didn't want to have happen. Ray is now back in the lead of the San Marino Grand Prix. And look at Ślepinski now. I think he's a bit flustered by what just happened. He had a slow exit to a corner. Let's take a look at a replay. What happened here? It was at the Varianta Alta. He had a slow exit.
Oh no, he spins as well onto the front straight.
Oh
Too much power
no!
on.
Yep.
Oh no!
Nilsson in second now.
Things have gone from bad to worse now for Ślepinski. As
Centrami crashed. It's in the first chicane.
Oh
He
no!
took 2 wheels off.
Out of the point.
So Rosella will be in 6th, but there is someone else joining the party for that final point.
Here's the accident, and he ran straight into the tire stack. Centurami did, so that's why he's out of the race. Yes, this is going to jumble the order. First place.
Rosella will still claim 6th, and then he's got both John Team and David Saber behind him.
My goodness, Ray Riddall in first place now, back where he was at the start. Second place, Anders Nilsson in the Jordan Ford. Third, Ślepinski after a series of errors. He's probably kicking himself right now. And Richard Coxon is in 4th. 5th place, Wilkes. And 6th now, defending himself from team, is Luke Rosella. Luke Rosella in the footwork Porsche in the points in 6th, trying his best to hold off John Team, who desperately, like, Alberto tells me this all the time. The 2 places most contested in a race, as look at John looking up the side. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God, that was
Luke,
close!
Luke just flipped one of the barriers, was lucky to get away with it, and that's enough for Team to slip through. Team is now in 6th place, Rosella down to 7th. Now the question is, did Luke incur any damage there? And he's got Saber right behind him in
And Ray
Maybe
Hall.
going up as well. But
Yeah,
look at that
oh,
Rosella in
oh.
a straight line. Holy moly, what
goes right.
speed!
Oh my goodness, he goes right.
It's Saber as well.
Saber goes around as well. This is incredible stuff.
Whoa,
Rosella
wow.
in 6th, hauling down to Tosa. My goodness, what a recovery from Rosella. Back to 6th place in the footwork. This is incredible stuff.
When a leader trying to
Oh,
make
that
his
can
way past
Saber.
as well.
Oh, makes the
Holy
footwork really
moly.
wide. Oh.
Now it's going to get weird because they got the leaders coming up now, or at least
One of them.
one of them. But still, yeah, the blue flag.
Oh,
is
Saber!
Oh, no, that's a...
Oh, the
Oh
Saber.
no,
Saber into the
Saber
race.
out of the race! Oh my goodness!
No, he's still in the race, but
Yeah,
out of
but-
the contention for points.
Replay.
Yeah.
What happened here?
Well, Ray went by and either Saber clipped him or the other way around. I'll let you decide.
Oh, he was
what.
trying to come to a stop and he got clipped on the left front. He had his foot on the brake. He was trying to come to a stop and couldn't. That's too bad for Saber because he was doing better than his starting position. My goodness, that's a lot of action for the past 2 minutes. And so
Yeah, that's really helpful for Rosella, but John Team is
Ooh, and
still
Rosella
there.
going
Rosella's-
fine again with the tires. Holy moly.
Rosella channeling Gilles Villeneuve with his driving style here. He's got to be a bit more reserved, I think, here. Now that he's got some room between himself and the Team, but that was incredible after that clip that he had with the barrier. First, that he survived, A, and B, that he was able to then motor right around Team in this spot right here between Tamburello and Villeneuve. That was fantastic.
It showed what we saw earlier, that the footwork looked to be just a little bit more trimmed out, more top speed, earlier into the top speed. Yeah, that was hectic, to say the least. And it's still not over. Oh! Rosella with a mistake. John Tim looking
Slight
for
mistake,
it.
but he's on the right line to go into this chicane. Is he going to take the chicane properly?
Oh,
He breaks. Oh my goodness! Goodness gracious sakes alive! Look at this stuff. This is incredible racing from these two. Team and Rosella letting it all hang out, literally. Fantastic. And Rosella once again has the preferred line going into the Variante Alta. What great racing from these two! Fantastic stuff. But Team,
Coming more here.
yeah, more coming here. Rosella taking the defensive, well, not so much, but my goodness, we've seen more great racing from these two in the past like 3 minutes than we've seen in most of the Grand Prix. This is amazing. Amazing stuff.
John trying to unnerve him as much as he can.
Well, he's been
behind.
doing that for the last third of the Grand Prix. He almost ran into the back of him there. So now I'm starting to wonder if Luke is fighting an ill-handling car at this point. Team.
Maybe so.
Team trying to get by. Luke doing his best.
He has an overlap. He has an overlap.
No,
Don't want to
Luke,
be
look at that. Luke puts the power on and just motors on by. That Porsche has got more power at the top end, I think, than the Ilmore does. The Ilmore looks like it has more grunt at the bottom end. But what a fantastic scrap between these two, with just a few laps to go. Here comes Team again. He's looking for left, right, see if he can find a place to go by. Oh my goodness! Heading into Piratella. They're right together. I think the
He
greatest.
has a good run out.
Yeah, but
again.
he's on the wrong place again. Luke takes the inside line and takes the chicane. This is fantastic stuff.
Oh!
Team makes a mistake, loses the back end. That costs him some time, so that will give Luke a much-needed break, I think. He needs to catch his breath. But my goodness, this has got to be one of the best battles I've seen in a while. This is fantastic stuff.
This is where both of them go to their proverbial forehead and go, wipe.
Yes.
Whew.
Yes.
Let's go.
But what?
Moly.
But my goodness, what a
Wow.
what a titanic scrap between these two. Meanwhile, at the front, it's still the same. Ray Radal's in the lead. Nilsson is second. Schlapinski, recovering from mistakes, is in third. Cox in fourth. Wilkes is fifth. And we're watching the best battle in the race right now between Luke Rosella in the footwork Porsche of all cars and John Team in the not so bad, not the best car, but it's not a bad car, Leighton House Ilmore, as they come through Tamburello, now heading towards the Villeneuve curve. This is where I think the Porsche has a bit of legs on the Ilmore, and now coming down. But look at how, oh my God! Oh my goodness, that was not going to work. But Team is absolutely trying to outbrake Rosella everywhere on the circuit because he knows he can't do it in a straight line. Rosella takes a defensive line into Piratella, runs a bit wide. Here they come again, but we've seen this movie before.
More of an overlap. He should.
No, look at that. Contact between the two of them, and
both of them just about maneuvering
and
through.
Rosella continues in sixth place. Now, the stewards may not like that.
All crossed up.
Yeah, the stewards may not like that because that probably a bit of a forced maneuver from Rosella. But look at that. Look, oh my goodness. What team trying like mad to hang on to his car. My goodness. Juha, you still with us?
I'm still with you. I'm watching that.
This is insane stuff. This is incredible. This is definitely worth the price of admission. I hope everyone on YouTube's enjoying this. This is crazy stuff.
Still about 1.5 seconds at the front, so let's keep following this.
Yeah, I was about to say there's only 1.9 seconds.
Oh my, he survived again?
There he comes. Oh my goodness, he got it on the outside. My goodness, that's incredible stuff. Oh man. Incredible. Rosella clipped the barrier a second time, still didn't lose any parts, and he managed to get by on the outside. The outside. That's nuts.
There's a yellow flag somewhere.
For titanium bits.
No.
Someone's off. I'm checking. It's a red car. Saber spinning.
Saber still having issues, unfortunately. My goodness.
Oh, and they are back at it again now.
Yep.
Now John Tim around outside going into Piratea.
Well, and if the same thing happens it does other times, he's going to get him on the inside of Piratella.
Great drop.
Yeah, but here he goes.
Very good.
No. Contact between the two of them.
No,
okay,
that's not what we're going to see.
No, that's not what we want to see. I think maybe the red mist is getting to these guys a bit. They need to keep it. They need to keep it respectful here. Team going. Team is just.
Yeah, team is angry.
Team's
John
mad.
is angry.
And probably there will be. I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be protests after the race from Team saying that Rosella basically used his car.
He should have it. Ooh!
Oh no! Oh man! Rosella has run off the course and now is down to seventh place. Man, you know,
I reckon that's 1-1. Because that looked like John just slightly closed the door a little bit and forced Rosella tight. That's unfortunate that's how the battle ends.
I think his front, from what I see, his front wheels look a bit out of no, ignore that.
Well, in retrospect, that was probably inevitable, but still. Well, we can catch our breath now.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them protest those maneuvers, but...
Yeah, there's probably going to be a protest in some way, but Team is now into the points in sixth place. Rosella is still in seventh, but yeah, some of the tactics there may not be looked favorably upon by some people. We'll see what happens. In any case,
Wilkes explode!
Engine goes. So Rosella will still get a point.
Oh my goodness! Wilkes' engine goes kablooey, and that means that
only 2 laps to go.
And that means that Rosella, if he can keep the car going, will still finish in the points. That's incredible. They're coming out of Rivazza. Rivazza
1 lap to go.
1 lap
8
to
tenths
go.
between Ray and Anders.
Yeah, 7 tenths.
Well, it's 8 on my screen. Maybe Swedish clocks work differently.
All right, 1 lap to go now.
Wrong.
Well, this has been a very exciting, very harrowing San Marino Grand Prix, I have to say. Another yellow flag up here. What's going on?
Yeah, that's Wilkes being parked.
I don't see anybody, but in any case...
Yeah, it was Wilkes on the left.
It was Wilkes.
Okay, so Ray Radal has got a good distance between himself and Nilsson, you gotta take your hat off to Ray. He starts on the pole, takes off before the lights go green, has to do a drive-through penalty, and recovers from that and perseveres, and here he is looking to win the San Marino Grand Prix in Red 5, Nigel Mansell's famous Red 5.
Well, Nilsson has closed up considerably,
a little bit.
so maybe a slight opportunity towards the
he's taken
final.
half a second off him.
Well, not many opportunities left here, but
I reckon Rivazza
now
2 maybe.
Rivazza's the last really good opportunity that Nilsson will have.
Back. He can't do it.
No. All right, so they come now into the second part of Rivazza, coming up to the Bassa.
He is really close to
Rosella's dropped to. Rosella's off. Oh, yeah,
Oh.
sorry. Yeah.
All right,
It's
so
gone
here
off and
Here they come
dropped another point.
into the stadium section now, if it can be called that. Final lap over. Checkered flag comes out, and there it is for, look at that,
2/10.
2/10 of a
He is
second.
happy with that.
Ray Riddall wins the San Marino Grand Prix. Second place is Anders Nilsson. Here comes third place, a great drive that unfortunately was marred a bit by some incidents late in the race, but Cesarius Schlepinski finishes a well-deserved third. Fantastic result for him. Here comes Richard Coxon, the survivor in the Tyrrell team.
And Drexler is going to take the final point, only just.
Team finishes 5th, 6th is Drexler, 7th Nicholas Kirsten, 8th Luke Rosella minus a front wing. So he's going to try to bring it back. He's still got, I think he's a lap down actually, so
Yes, yeah.
4 turns left.
yeah.
It was looking so promising. I mean, if you just kept it going, you'd have had a point for footwork.
Yeah, but
Still,
Well,
it's
go
still
with all
two,
bits attached,
both foot,
obviously.
well, the
yeah,
next
but
race
still also both footworks in the top 10. So
Yeah, and one of them is actually still lining up 9th place, but Janik's keeping that.
most likely at least.
Janik in 9th after having a disastrous start, and he's going to finish just ahead of Hlavic, who's 10th. Here they come. Janik 9th and Hlavic in 10th. So a good debut overall from the footwork team in their new car. But yeah, I would say, silver lining is that we're heading to Monaco for the next race. And that's a track that pretty much equalizes everybody. So it'll be down to driving skill more than anything, I think. As Hlavic,
to some extent.
As Hlavic gives a love tap to Chacon.
Also, fantastic drive from Rob de Vries, bringing the Modena to the finish in 12th.
Yes, Rob de Vries comes home in 12th place, just outside the top 10. Great result. I mean, it's a Herculean effort to even get this car on the grid, let alone finish with it, and he finishes 12th. 13th is Gabriel Del Piccolo, who also had some issues throughout the day. 14th, Chacon. 15th, Sabres. 16th, Centorami. These are the cars out of the race. 17th, Grant Riddall. 18th, Juha Boss. 19th, Jules Bouchard. 20th, Oscar Team. 21st, Alan Santo. That was an unfortunate retirement because it looked as if he had a possible points-paying finish with the McLaren. 22nd, Francisco Amaral. 23rd, Ruben Fernandez. 24th, Salvatore Sirignano. And 25th, Tim Hilla. And then our first retirement, Luciano Rossi in the Ferrari. So that was the San Marino Grand Prix. A lot of action. A lot of...
yes.
And probably a lot of arguments that are going to occur afterwards on the forum and maybe in private messages. But that's
Well, we're not on the forum. That's what protest forums are for.
that's what the protest forum is for, so we don't have people duking it out on the forum. But I'm sure that you'll have a few messages coming your way, Juha. But still, a very entertaining race. Excellent fun to watch. And I think it's... and Anders actually is in the green room, our second place finisher. Let's bring him in here. Anders Nilsson, congratulations on second place. Looks like you were closing on Ray in the end there, but just couldn't quite get it done. And I believe Anders might be having an issue with his microphone. So we'll give him a second to.
Or maybe not here at the moment.
Or maybe he's not. Well, he put himself in the green room, so that's the universal cue for I want to be interviewed. But perhaps he stepped away for a bit. But anyway, analysis from the two of you. How was that as a race? Either of you can go first. I don't care.
Juha, go for it.
Yeah, I'd rather have mine lasted a bit longer, but well, it didn't give me a boring evening. There's lots of excitement going on. So well, hopefully Monaco will be just as interesting. You know, probably I can play a more important role in that one.
What about you, Jonathan?
Well, a lot of hectic racing. Like I thought it was going to be ahead of the race. Quite high attrition, like it usually is at Imola. Engine braking normally, and in this case also push too hard and be a bit too brave, and stuff happens. Great drive from Ray to get the win despite the penalty early on, and just really good fun to watch overall.
All right, here is Anders now. That was my mistake. I put him in the wrong channel. So sorry. Sorry about that, Anders.
No worries.
So as far as your race goes, I mean, you drove a pretty flawless race throughout. Just in the end, it looks like it seemed like you were closing on Grant in the end there, on Ray, but just couldn't quite get up close enough to him at the end. It looked like.
No, that's true. He drove a brilliant race, Ray. It's, I mean, he had 210s on me on the straight. I had 210s in a twisty, and it kept on status quo for a long time. And then I catch up with him, but I knew, I'm super happy with this race, and Ray didn't make any mistakes, so there was no chance that I could overtake him. He drove brilliant.
Well, he made one mistake. Right at the start.
Yeah.
But
yes, he did. Yeah. That was the only one he did.
That was his only mistake of the day. Well, it looks as I mean, it's really early to start thinking about this because it's only round 3 and now we're going to Monaco to see how this is emerging. But it looks as if it'd be interesting if it emerged to be like a battle between you and Ray. It'll be interesting to see if that plays out that way. What do you think? How much of it do you think is that Renault V10 that's superior to the Jordan Ford?
Yeah, I would say it is superior in power, but I wouldn't say it's easier to drive. I don't know. I haven't driven it, so of course he has the power. But on Monaco, yeah, it could be. But I'm not the only one in this. I mean, Grant is in it, and Slapinski drove well today. One mistake, that was all it took, and Coxon, Wilkes. So there are so many people. I can't predict anything. It was brilliant today.
Yeah, it was a very, very entertaining drive from a lot of people, and if you watch the broadcast, you'll see towards the end quite a titanic scrap between Luke Rosella and John Thiem that lasted for about 4 or 5 minutes, and it was some of the most hair-raising stuff I've ever seen. Not all of it, clean driving, but still pretty exciting to watch. Well, in any case, thank you for your comments, Anders. So before we sign off here, I want to remind everybody of what's coming up next for our league. Next week, we go back touring car racing, the DHL International Race Day. And it's 1996 British Touring Cars, round 4 of 13, Sunday, March 24th. The first race, because there's 2 of them, the first race will start at 2000 CET. Then the following week, the last day of March 2024, the Grand Prix of Monaco, the 4th round out of 16 of this series that we watched today, green light at 2000 CEST, because that's the first day that Europe goes in summertime. All right. So thank you again to Jonatan, and thanks also to Juha for dropping in. That was very nice of both of you to give me a hand with the broadcast, because Alberto is not here today. He was busy elsewhere. But thanks both of you for your expert analysis. It made things much more fun in the booth, and hope that you both have a good week. And you too, Anders, have a good week. So for Juha and Jonatan and Anders, this is Jason White saying so long from San Marino. We'll see you on our next broadcast in 2 weeks. Take care and be safe.